We are joined today by Double J, Jeremy Jones.
Double J.
How are
Hey
ya?
guys, how y'all doing? Good to
Good,
see you, Jason. Good to see you, Becky. And
good
I
to
know
Yeah.
see
Kara's back
you.
there somewhere.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. It's been a minute. Last time I saw you was we were in Orlando together. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a little bit. That was a great trip. What a nice venue that was there in Orlando. But yeah, it's been a minute. Figure to
Yeah.
see you soon.
Yeah, what have you been up to since we were in Orlando? I mean, I feel like every time I see you, you're heading a lot of international travel, it seems like you're taking these days.
Yeah, well, that Orlando was kind of the first part of that month there in Florida for so much pool, and then had some time off after the Moscone. Did a little bit of work. Planned on playing the Derby, but I'm kind of dealing with a sciatica issue, so I had to pull out of that. But just back to work. Uh, Went to Phoenix, Connecticut, some places for teaching, and then just came off the European Open. I was there 20 days in Bosnia for the European Open and the PLP.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was wondering about that event in Bosnia. I mean, I know we were talking like a little before the interview, but that was like a pretty war torn area of Europe. I mean, I don't what's that like today? I know it's been several years, but that's the last time I remember hearing anything about Bosnia. What was that like?
I mean, there were still some sites you could see, that, of course, were sites from a war, so it's a little different. But um, yeah, I mean, I don't think you could overall like people talked about it or anything like that. But the one guy, tour guide, you could see it's still pretty prevalent in people's minds. That war, I think probably the last war we've seen that wasn't like a third world country. Maybe I don't know. I'd have to look at the history books, but a pretty town in the mountains. Didn't catch the best weather for 3 weeks, but overall it was a nice place.
Do you get to
Yeah.
see a lot, like outside of the pool rooms when you go to these places, or are you mostly inside of where the tournaments are?
It just depends. Some you get a little more time. There we had long days.
Yeah.
Uh, Doing a lot of little extra things. Of course, a new location for a tournament usually brings some extra things um, than the juniors, and we did have 3 days off, but honestly, it's one of my worst sleeping expeditions ever. So I didn't do a whole lot on those 3 days. A couple of the guys went up the mountain and went to a little resort and got a little snow and a little nature for a few days, but I didn't do a whole lot besides trying to catch up on my rest. Because the PLP is like 10, 12-hour days, and that's 8 days of it.
Yeah, and those are all the big matchroom events, the WNT tied events, and so that's great. Well, I'm glad you're staying busy. The other thing I wanted to ask about since I saw you last is the Moscone Cup. Obviously, we know the results of the Moscone Cup, and we were right back in the same boat we were the last several years. But I wanted to ask you from your perspective because this year you got to kind of be a little more removed. I know you're still rooting for Team USA, but you didn't have the responsibilities that go with being the captain. I was curious what that experience was like for you. Obviously, a little different.
Yeah, I mean, working kept my mind off a few things, but when I wasn't working, I fell. I had to catch myself like I was almost on the team, is the way I felt on the bench, and they got that part covered. So whenever the guys came back, just tried to be a fan and lend any hand that they want offered. You know what I'm saying, or they want in return. And I think they did a great job overall. It was right in at 5-5 or 6-5, something like that. But that turning point always seems to be that speed bump right there in the match. Always seems to be a little rougher for us for some reason. Um, as a coach or maybe an ex-coach or someone tearing it apart, kind of felt like if you looked at Team Europe, um, Jason Shaw played very loose on and off the table, and played awesome, by the way, along with a few others that could have won that MVP for Europe. But what I'm getting at is I kind of felt like Europe kept their concentration better with those other four players. Like, yeah, they'd celebrate after a win or maybe not like a loss. But during the match, I felt like they kept their focus a little better between racks and stuff like that, where you got an animated Billy Thorpe, which is awesome, and he's playing great. Maybe let him be that guy that just kind of goes all the time or whatever. But I think in that atmosphere, you got to really keep that focus between games. And maybe that's the one difference I saw at times, just because it's hard to turn it on and off in that situation.
I bet.
If that
Yeah.
makes any sense at all, I
Yeah,
hope it did.
it certainly does, and I kind of wondered how you would feel about kind of being there and but not officially there, and I kind of felt like there was a likelihood that those guys would kind of be talking to you a little bit and getting some input and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But so the other thing I wanted to mention here is, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Jeremy, but you are the very first Poolplayer Nation podcast guest to both appear
Oh,
on
wow.
to appear on both the Joe Rogan
Oh.
podcast and this podcast. And I know it's pretty much on par with the Joe Rogan podcast
I mean, we're pretty
experience, but
close.
I'm curious because like what's up with you and Joe Rogan? Like you guys are like solid, like you guys are dudes now, right? Like you just go to the UFC, deal with him, and
Yeah. We went in December, me and Carl Boys, actually. What a time that was, and couldn't thank Joe enough. And I've actually become way more of a UFC fan. You know, we all watch those videos on the phone and whatnot, and I'm usually cars or nature or something, but or his podcast, but I've started to watch a lot more of the fighting. And then what an event they put on every month, because we had VIP access and we could go pretty much anywhere. We went in early with Joe because he does all the matches, and yeah, we got treated like gold. But just so much going on just for one night and one sporting event.
man, I mean, I just can't even imagine what that experience. I mean, how does that manifest? I mean, does like Joe Rogan call you? Do his people like reach out to your people?
No. We were playing in Austin at a studio because when I go to Austin, I have a little brother that lives there and many friends, of course. But when I go to Austin, and if he's available, and we go over there and we spar, and you know, just conversation led to one thing or another, and so a few months later he hit me up, hey, December good for you? And Carl Boys, actually, I think we're at the US Open having a cocktail at the bar, and you know how it is with buddies, and he knows all about UFC. I was like, hey, you want to go to the UFC? And kind of went down from there.
Man, that's pretty awesome.
That's
And I
so
mean,
cool.
so when you go to the US, obviously he's busy, like he's working, right? At the fight, like do you actually hang out with him, or I mean, how's that
Oh
work?
no, we got Friday, all arrived early, you know, checked in, got sorted, went to dinner. What a dinner, by the way. And then we went to the pool room. We reserved a table there at Grips and played like 9 hours of pool. Joe's a beast. We played 9 hours straight, and he played every game. It was amazing. So we played a lot of pool, and then again the next day met up because we had to go at like, you know, West Coast time. I think we had to leave around 2:30 in the afternoon for the fights. So we were there from 2:30 till closing, and then went to dinner afterwards. You know, parted ways, all the thank yous and hugs and whatnot, and then went from there.
Man, that's a great
Too
story.
cool.
Very cool
So he's
stuff.
a good pool player.
Oh yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah.
like a really high level player.
Yeah.
Like what? Give us his speed. Like relate it to somebody so we kind of understand.
You know, I think he's pretty talented player. He's not a pro level. I think, you know, he'd tell you the same thing, but his game's come along, and he's very good offensive. One thing about Joe, he hasn't played a ton of tournaments, and you know what I mean. That's just be hard for him to do. I don't know if the tournament could even get done in 3 days if he was in it with people around and whatnot. But
Yeah.
so he hasn't played a lot of match play like that. So, but very good offensively, and plays a lot and tries hard every ball. So he's a tough player. You know, I'm not big on Fargo. I don't know enough about it. I couldn't give you a rating like that, but he's like you know, if you rate a 1 to 10, he's definitely a good 7.5 or something like that.
Wow.
And
Okay. So like if he was gonna play, you've been to US. I mean, obviously you worked the US Amateur Championship. You see that level of play. Is he? I mean, is he that speed? Could he come in there and compete? Could he win? Like what? You know,
oh
US
yeah, he could come in there and compete for sure.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Nice.
Especially if he got match time
Yeah.
involved, because you know, it's different to play one setting you're used to, and then you go into a different setting. He would tell you the same. So
Yeah. Maybe we got to get him in the mix,
Yeah.
Jeremy. We got to get him out to the US Amateur Championship. Like that would be pretty awesome.
yeah, I think he's such a busy guy, but I think in the future you're going to see him involved in pool some kind of
Yeah,
way.
I know he loves it, which is cool. And he
Oh,
must
he
have
absolutely.
tremendous respect for you because you know, he wants to get, you know, learn from you, and so that's great. I'm proud of you, I guess, is what I'm saying. I think it's cool, and I'm proud of you. That's good
Well,
stuff.
thanks, Jason, and yeah, just give him a little tips here and there. We really just try to beat each other for the most part. He likes it intense, uh, and you know, he gives it his all, whatever he does. So
Nice.
he's a big asset as a fan for pool.
Yeah, well, I know he spends a lot of time in Vegas, and I know you're going to be spending some time in Vegas later this month, early next
Mhm.
month. You're actually coming out to our event, the Pool Player Championship, Pool Player Championships, with an S.
Championships.
And it's been a long time since you've been to an APA event. Like, I couldn't believe it when you told me. How long? How long since you've been to one of our events?
I think the last time was 1999 when we used to
Wow.
run the World 8 Ball on the pro circuit, which was the Camel Pro Billiard Series at that time. The 1999 was the last time, I believe. Earl Strickland won the event. Michael Coltrane came second. Um, and yeah, and yeah, it's been a minute. Surprisingly, tried to go the last several years, but some overlapping work didn't allow it for August.
Yeah, well, I think you'll be. I mean, again, I don't know what you remember from back then, and I'm sure it was very impressive back in '99. But the event has grown. Obviously, it's gonna be a little different this year.
Yes.
We've moved some events around, so it's. I think it'll probably be on kind of on par with what you remember. But you know, I'll be interested in hearing what you think when you're out there, and we're excited to have you out there for the first time. I'm excited to show you around, and I mean, I know you've been to Vegas plenty. You've been to lots of different pool tournaments and that kind of thing, but it'd be good to have you out there. And the nice thing is, we're gonna have you there for some of the championship matches to do some commentary.
Yes.
I think we've got you coming out for the ladies championship, the Masters championship. I think you're there for the nine ball
world champion, or
nine
not
ball
nine
shootout.
ball shootout. Sorry.
So that'll be cool. I mean, I know players love to have you kind of be able to call their matches and that kind of thing. So you'll be working in the mix with Ava and I, and so I know some of those matches go long, Jeremy. So it's gonna be nice to have a little relief here and there. Maybe go grab a bite and use the restroom kind of relief. That's great.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you got to appreciate those players trying hard, trying to get those titles. So I don't mind a long match here and there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm interested to see because you know you go to a lot of different types of events and just to see what everyone's doing a little different and what the vibe feels like from each event.
Yeah, well,
That's
I'm
exciting.
excited to have you out there. Make sure you don't wear yourself out though, because I know you're like, where do you got to go between now and Vegas? Like, I know you're going to Super Billiard Expo tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I go to Super Beard Expo till Monday, and then from there I go to Maine to do maybe 5 days of teaching um, up there with some really good people in Portland, and then from there to NYC, which I go there to teach quite often for 4 or 5 days, and then not sure if Mama's going to come out and spend a few days in Vegas or New York, but if she does, we'll stay a few extra days and then home for just a couple days before I see you in Vegas.
Okay. Well, at
Nice.
least you're staying domestic for the
Yeah.
most part. No overseas travel. I know you're going from Vegas international, right? You got to go. Where are you going from our
London,
event?
yeah.
To London.
London,
Okay. So
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
just got that flight the other day, direct from Vegas to London, and then home, and it's gonna, you know, start to got a kid graduating on the 18th, which is awesome.
yeah.
Exciting.
And then yeah, and then a little time off to try and figure out a few things for maybe a summer vacation.
Yeah. You've earned it, and you've got the
Absolutely.
miles. I'm sure you've got the miles now. Should be a free
Man, I'm bad
vacation.
on the miles. Yeah, but I should have more, that's for sure.
Gotta
Yeah.
take that wife somewhere, right?
Yeah, she's earned it too.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, we try to take one kid on a trip with the graduation and stuff like that. Brady, I hope you're not watching
Yeah.
because you know I don't know when that's going to happen in the summer, but
I
try
thought
to
you were going to
coordinate.
disclose where you were going. I thought you were going to
Right,
give us
right.
like a
That's what
heads
I was
up,
thinking.
but that's all right. You'll figure it out.
Well, it might be Fort Worth in the stockyards, Jason. Just depends on how things go. I only live about 45 minutes from there, so.
Yeah. I
But
gotcha.
we got some good kids, and they appreciate whatever we do, so that we're pretty lucky there.
Nice. And so you mentioned a lot of your travel leading up to Vegas. You're doing lessons. I think there's going to be a little time in your schedule in Vegas. I don't know how much. May not be a lot, but you're going to actually potentially offer some lessons because obviously we're going to have a lot of pool players out there. It's a rare opportunity to be able to work with you and get some instruction. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set aside a room with a table in it, and then if you can work it out, you know, if somebody's really interested in a lesson, maybe you can navigate that. I mean, we'll throw your email address out there, and you
Yep.
can. What do you think? I mean, does
Yeah.
that sound good?
No, that sounds great. I mean, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I'm still a player at heart, and I wish I was playing, but I'm lucky that, you know, the commentary I love, and I love the teaching even more. So I'm always here to help, and I've worked with a ton of APA players in the last 8, 9 years of teaching, and I feel like I've been lucky enough to help most, and if not all, I've worked with, and I'd love to help more.
Well,
Yes.
there you go, folks. So make sure you know, if you're interested, if you're going to be in Vegas, tail into the event. Jeremy will be there on kind of the back half of the
Yeah.
event. But if you're going to be interested in potentially getting a lesson with him, again, I'm not sure how much time he's going to have. You can shoot him an email, get some pricing information. I know you kind of customize things based on what somebody's looking for, like how long do they want to work with you, what do they want to work on, and so we'll let you work with people. But if you're interested, shoot him an email, and you might get on the list. You might get on the list.
Yeah, yeah. I figure I could do, 2, 3 hours a day. I fly in on the 30th, maybe can do a little more, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone's interested, tune up or whatever you want to work on, let me know.
Awesome.
Podcast listeners are hearing it first.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you've been tuning into the podcast, you'll be able to reach out first. All right, Jeremy. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy, but it's good to catch up with you, and I look forward to seeing you here in a few weeks in Vegas. Again, don't wear yourself out. We got one of these trips. We got to go. I'm always like, Jeremy, let's go to dinner. He's like, oh, I got to go do a lesson. Oh, I got to go do a lesson. Like, save a little
Well,
time.
no, I need to get that dinner. I need to
Yeah.
get that
Yeah,
dinner.
let's make sure we sit down and do dinner, because otherwise the only time we talk is in the commentary booth. So anyway, we'll let you
Yeah,
run,
and,
Jeremy. It's good seeing you. Safe travels, and we'll see you in Vegas, buddy.
Thanks,
thanks,
Jeremy.
Jason, and thanks, Becky, and hats off to your Gators. I hate to say it, Jason, but I'm a Cougar all the time, but hell of a season for the Cougars. But congrats to Florida, you darn
Yeah,
Gators. So
appreciate that. That's why I wore my Gator green for you. But yeah, it's great season, definitely a great game, and Cougars represented well. So it was a nail biter, no doubt. So we'll talk more about it in Vegas, buddy.
All right, thanks, Jason.
All right, Jeremy.
Thanks,
See ya.
Becky.